Hello, everyone. Let's wait for others to join. Let's wait for a few more minutes for others to join before we start. All right. Hello, everyone. Can we unmute our mics, please? Just for a second. Can we unmute our mics? And if there's a challenge, regarding unmuting your mics, please send a chat in the chat box. My name is Chimeziri Iwuoha. I want to apologize for not meeting up last week. The reason was because I had an accident, an unforeseen accident. How are you? How's your day going? I want to see your responses on the chat box to know that you are here with me. So, how are you and how's your day going? Are you sending your responses? Or simply send a reaction? Yes. Thank you, John. Carl John, thank you. Thank you, Afolabi, K. Christiana, Muyedin. All right. So let us begin. Theophilus, Tina, thank you. We are 10 in number. I don't think we are that small. But however, let's begin. So I will be working with Madam Joy. I call her Madam Joy because she's older, or I should say Miss Joy, right? I'll be working with Miss Joy and Emedom and also Josephine Inamani, right, in taking us on this course. So before we begin, I have a bit of um, like a class, like a test, right, to see if you recall what the introduction that Miss Joy took us through. So give me a second and I'll send it on the chat box. So it's a test basically to see if you had gone through the recording, or if you still recall what she explained yesterday. So give me a second. Let me just retrieve that. So I was opportune to go through the video, and so I had everything Madam Joy took us through. So I'll be asking a few questions. Let me just, and then you can respond by unmuting yourself. Okay, so she began by explaining to us what an AI agent is. I remember she mentioned that she currently has, I think, about four agents left working, with her or for her, right, to do basic things as research and other, well, not basic, other necessary things, right? And so we, as professionals in our different fields, as people who also have access to the internet, I believe we have engaged in one or two, agents, right? For example, the chat box that we engage in when we want to verify or make inquiries, right, regarding a product or a service, right, is an example of an AI agent. And so I'd like to ask, what is an AI agent? Can someone tell us what an AI agent is? Can someone unmute their mics and tell us what an AI agent is?
I'll give it a try. An agent,
Okay.
with or without human intervention, right,
Intervention. Yeah.
can can understand its environment, decision, and acts uh, autonomously by itself to achieve a goal,
Okay. Thank you
whatever
very
the goal
much.
is.
Thank you. Who spoke? What's your name?
Oh, sorry, Christiana.
Christiana. Thank you. All right. Okay, so just like Madam Joyce said, right? Kindly encourage me. This is not my first time mentoring, however, my first time with textilers. So I'm ready for you, right? I just hope that you are also ready to learn alongside. All right, so let's begin, right? So an AI agent. You can look at it as a software, because really that's what it is, right? It's a software that makes decisions. It acts on its own. It doesn't necessarily need a human intervention, a human prompting it to produce whatsoever results, right? That is what an AI agent is. And so we will be looking at how, in the course of this study that will be taking place, or that will be taking on for this few weeks, right? We'll be looking at how agents are secured. I also remember that Madam Joy mentioned that there will be something new and fun that we'll be doing, which is that we would be taking our assessments for this cohort would be that we'll take a hold of the agents that the other sets of individuals or students are building, and find out for ourselves if it is secure or not. And so let me just allow you to see my screen. Let me know if you can see my screen, please.
Not yet. It hasn't popped up. There we go.
Can you see it now?
Yes.
Right. So like I said, an AI agent is a software, right, that acts on its own, basically, without having human intervention take part in it. All right, so there are 4 parts of an agent that we'll be looking at, right? We'll be looking at the model, the orchestration layer, the memory, the tool. Now, I want, when you hear of the term model, look at it as an example, right? Equivalent, like I wrote here, to a human is our brains. The model is how the AI agent makes decisions, right? Of course, this has to do with the different kinds of programming languages that would be used to build the model. However, the model is the brain box per se of the agent, right? It determines how the agent operates. The orchestration layer can be looked at as the thinking process of the agent. And so you see here, as I have shown on the screen, that it begins by receiving information, right? The information from, of course, humans, right? Reason it out, act on it, and then it repeats eventually, because obviously it also has what we have as the third part, which is memory. And a memory simply is where it stores short-term information, right? Look at it as our, for example, our notepads, right, on our phones. Our some of us like to carry small jotters, right, to help us recall activities or what to do for the day. So it is basically equivalent to the agent storing short-term information, right? And then the fourth tool, with regard to an AI agent, is it's the tools, right? Now, what are the tools? The tools refer to services that AI agents connects to, right? Services, files, images, what have you, that the agent connects to produce the outcome that we require. So we see here that it connects to the web, that's the internet. It connects to files, it connects to databases, it connects to APIs, right? And an example of that, to help us recall, for example, our computers help us to connect to the internet. We are having this call, for example, on our computers or our devices, because it's a tool, basically, right? Applications are also tools. an example of tools, that AI agents makes use of, right? Okay. So, like I said, we have 4 parts of an AI agent. The model, we look at the brain as an example to describe what a model is. We look at the orchestration layer, and when we think of that, we think of thinking process, right? That is to tell us that AI agents are built to think, to reason intelligently, right? We have the memory, which keeps information. We have the tools, that is where AI agents, connects and gathers information, All right. So when it comes to AI agents, there are 3 types of AI agents, 3 types of AI agents. So, like I mentioned previously, we have, I believe everyone here has engaged in 1 or 2 AI agents before. It could be that you're trying to gain access to a service in your bank, and of course, you have the bank app, and for quick responses, you have this chat box that tells you, hey, I'm here, I'm Audrey, I am Chichi, I am Chimeziri, and I'm here to help, right? So that is a chat box, that is an AI agent, basically, right? That is there to assist. So there are 3 types. We have the assistive agent. So let's look at what that means. An assistive agent acts only when a human accesses it to. It acts only when a human accesses it to. It borrows the user's permission to get things done. An example, as I have written here, is that of a customer support chat box, which I just mentioned. It asks a customer, for example, asks, "What is my balance?" And the agent gives feedback on behalf of that customer. So the agent does not act on its own. It acts only when you prompt it to, right? I believe another example would be Siri. For example, if you are an iPhone user, or the Google agent if you, of course, use an Android, right? Those are examples of assistive agents. Another example we have here is the autonomous agent, and this is independent. It works independent of the human trigger or the human itself, right? It runs in the background using its own identity. That is the autonomous agent. That would mean that it does not require prompts from humans to act, right? It makes real decisions without checking in, on the human. An example would be a security monitoring agent. I recall one of the in one of the jobs I have done with secondary school students. I taught them on cybersecurity, and I made them see that cybersecurity isn't just. The second is the autonomous agent, and the autonomous agent acts independent of the human, right? It runs in the background using its own identity. It makes real decisions without having us trigger it too, right? So I was saying before my network went off that an example is the security monitoring agent or device, right? It works, on the clock. It works 24/7 without having us check on it, right? So I recall, for instance, a time where I taught, or I was opportune to mentor secondary school students in a certain public school, and I was there to mentor and teach them, on cybersecurity, and to have them know that cybersecurity is not limited in that sense to other professions, right? I made them understand that, they could think, innovatively, in how to bring security into their different desires of professions. And I recall that a student she asked me, "Ma'am, so does that mean that I can," because she wants to be an architect, right? "Does that mean that I can build structures and securely, right? Aside from the physical security, does that mean that, with this information, I can actually put in devices, structures to ensure that my clients are safe and they are also aware of what is going on in their environment, right? And I said yes, right? And so this is a clear example of that, the fact that they are autonomous agents, such as the security monitoring device, right? I wrote here that a security monitoring agent watches the network logs 247. If it sees unusual login activity, for example, at 3 a.m., it automatically flags the alert or blocks the account. Another example would be, since I'm in the cybersecurity area of profession, I can only fall back to that. Another example of an autonomous agent can be the SIEM tool that SOC analysts use. How that it, checks also the networks of, a particular client or service or, website, right? And checks for unusual activities that shouldn't be there, right? That also is an example of an autonomous agent, right? So the third is agent user account. The third is agent user account. It says here that a special case where an agent needs to appear as a person to use systems that require a user account. An agent user account is a special case where an agent needs to appear as a person to use systems that require a user account. Now, what does that mean? An example, an HR scheduling agent that books interviews. I want to ask, kindly unmute and tell me, has anyone here ever had an interview with an AI HR agent? Has anyone here have an experience, with an HR agent, having an interview with an HR agent? An agent that asks you questions regarding the role you applied for example. No responses?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Thank you for your response. Any other person?
I mean, yeah, I've had interview with the AI agent, and yeah, it looks
Okay. So how was
yeah.
the experience?
I think it was sort of like reactive, so it tends to follow everything. My feedback is pretty much everything uh
Mm-hmm.
the agent is responding against, and it's not giving you that physical human feedback where they will be like they're not convinced. It will almost give you like oh, well done, that's a good response,
All
now
right.
can you answer me? So sort of like a false hope, but at least it's doing the right thing that it was
You said
configured to
like a
do.
false hope. It seemed like a false hope to you.
I mean, wow, anything to optimize certain role, it's a good thing.
Activities, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's an example. Thank you, Mr. Ade. So that's an example of an agent user account, right? The calendar system requires a person to book rooms. So the agent gets a user account, but it's still controlled as an agent. So let's look at what Microsoft Entra ID, agent ID is. I'm a very big fan of Microsoft Entra ID. Okay, so Agent ID gives every AI agent its own identity, just like we as humans, right? In Nigeria, for example, we have different means of identification, like the NIN, that singles you out as an individual standing on your own, right? So an AI agent ought to have its own identity. In fact, it has its own identity. It has its own identity card in that sense. So organizations um, properly, when securing AI agents, organizations are to be aware of this, that AI agents ought to have its identity so as to know, which agent is which in that sense. Now let's look at an analogy here. Think of a car's VIN number, that is the vehicle identification number. Every car rolling off the factory has its own VIN. If a car causes an accident, the VIN tells you exactly which car, who owns it, where it has been. AI agents ID works the same way. Every agent gets stamped with its own unique ID before it does anything. I want to use, in natural sense, an example with the barcode. If you Once you get items from stores, well functioning stores, right, you will see that each item, of course, comes with its barcode, such that once it is placed, before that, I don't know what it's called, where it is scanned, right? You see that it's singles out that item. It knows everything. The computer has information about that item because of that barcode. So just like with this example, right? A car's vehicle identification number is similar to an ID that an agent ought to have. So here I asked the question, why not just use a normal user account, right? Why not use a normal user account to identify an agent? Now, with human identity, how we find out who this individual is, we use things such as the password, fingerprints, MFA, right? That's the multiple factor authentication, right? But then with the AI agent, it doesn't use that. It doesn't use biometrics, for example, because of course it is not human, right? So we use tokens, for example, to secure an AI agent. With humans, I wrote here that it's one person owns the identity, but then with an AI agent, it can be created in thousands instantly, right? Let's look at what AI agent ID lets organizations do. Let's look at what AI agent ID lets organizations
Sorry,
do.
I raised my hand. Sorry, just I don't have a chat
Okay.
box to drop my question. So just so I can get this very clearly, can we also group the agent as sort of like the organizational assets? So just as we have IT assets, the laptops, the servers, the whatever that is, we AI agent will also be classified in that sort of bucket where
It should.
okay.
Okay. Let finish up. Finish up, sir.
Yeah, I just wanted to know because before we go down into that layer of securing it, I just wanted to know, is it an asset? Then can we group it as a criticality within the asset class and ownership defined and all that kind of thing? So that's what I just wanted to know before we move past that stage.
All right. Thank you for your
Sorry.
question, Mr. Ade, if I'm not mistaken. So yes, you are right. An AI agent can be classified as an asset, right? Organizations right now are paying millions, if not billions of
Yeah.
naira and dollars to build and secure their AI agents. So of course, an AI agent is an asset to an organization. Observe
Okay.
how organizations don't just pick a random developer, to build their AI agents. They go for the
Mm.
best, of course, because, like I said initially, an AI agent has four parts, right? One of which is the model, right? And which is equivalent to the brain of a human, or it's equivalent to saying it is the brain box of the agent. Now, in that brain box, we will find information regarding the organization. We will find intellectual property information regarding the organization, right? And so such information, of course, should not just be easily hacked, right? And that is why organizations will go the extra mile to ensure that it is protected, to ensure that not just anyone have access to it. So yes, sir, it is an asset.
Thanks.
All right, thank you for your question. Okay, we have 15 minutes to go. So what agent ID let organizations do? Let's see. It's okay, so we can have registered agents. And what that means is that it gives every agent an official identity before it works. We have the auto discover agents. It finds all agents running within the organization, right? It tells, like I said, every AI agent has its own identity. So the auto discover agent, of course, finds out the different kinds of agents that an organization works with. Now, in the IT, just like in the different departments we may be working in at the moment, we ought to be known in the different departments. In the IT department, for example, the IT team lead should know the different networks within the organization or that the organization is connected to, right? Now, having that information, helps such team lead to be able to spot out, okay, when an extra network is connected to the organization, spot out, when a certain network is not functional, within the organization. So also, within an organization should know the different kinds of agents. You should not be caught unaware, right? To know, okay, I didn't know we had this agent. No, an organization should know every single agent, working, active, operating within an organization. Agent registry. It's a central list of every agent, what it does, and who owns it. Madam Joy told us about how she has 4 agents. So let's assume that she has a company where AI agents are also in operation, right? In that sense, her organization should have an agent registry where it tells her the different kinds of agents working in her organization, who owns it. For example, she owns 4. So who owns it? Or who is in charge of it and what it does. Now, the blueprint is a template, as the name clearly states, right? It defines rules that agents follow. It defines the rules that agents follow. Also, activity logs. Every action an AI agent takes ought to be recorded for audit and compliance. Every action, this is very important, every action that an agent takes ought to be recorded for audit and compliance. Now, in cybersecurity, I have to mention that because we're talking about security. In cybersecurity, we have what we call the zero trust model, where you don't just trust anybody, right? I can't, for example, leave my computer on and say, okay, I know this person. Okay, this is my boss or this is my colleague, right? And I will just step out and leave my computer open in the name of this is someone I am familiar with. No, you don't do that when it comes to security. Now, so also with agents, as much as agents are built to act on specific rules, specific tasks, right? AI agents are not to be allowed to act independently in that sense without it being cross-checked. Now, one way to cross-check is to look out for its activities, its logs, when it's in operation, and when it is not supposed to be in operation. For example, I made an example of the security monitoring device where it's on it's active 24/7, right? However, such an agent can be shut down right? Irrespective of the fact that it was built to continuously be in motion, to be active, right? It can be shut down. And so, such activities such as shutting it down, such as, putting timelines in which you want it to record so and so, right? Such activities should be monitored. So we're going to look at, as we quickly come to a close for this particular session, let's look at an example within the Nigerian context, because I'm a Nigerian, right? So imagine a fintech company like Flutterwave now. Imagine it deploys 50 AI agents to handle customer services in KYC checks, fraud detection, and support. Now, without agent ID, the IT team cannot see which agents exist, when they are accessed, or who created them. With AI agent ID, the security team opens one dashboard and sees every agent and what it is doing at what time. Also, it looks at potential risk such an agent can bring about, right? For lack of words. So, as I conclude, we are building on what we looked at in the introduction that Ms. Joy took us through, which is to introduce us to the concept of AI agents. And like I said in the beginning of this class, AI agents is not a new concept, right? And the truth is that as the world evolves and as the world develops, right, there will be even more AI agents. There's a concept that is going around at the moment, which is the fact that AI agents will take our jobs. As true as that may seem, right, it is also not true, because AI agents can't secure themselves, right? AI agents would need would need you and I, who are aware of how to secure these agents, right? Come on board to secure their agents. So it's not the matter of will AI agents, I think that is not the question, to say will AI agents take our jobs. I think the question, one of the questions that should be is, what roles, right, can AI agents not take, basically, so that we can also position ourselves ready, professionally, legally, for such roles. All right, so we have come to the end of this class for today. Are there any questions for me? Are there any questions at all? Are there any remarks that someone has? Any comments at all? I'm here to answer. Madam Joy is also on the call, and I believe she's also here to assist me to answer. So yeah, the floor is open. I'll stop sharing now as I wait for your responses, everyone. Miss Josephine is also on the call.
I have a question to kind of help help me better understand this, right? So within, like you said, we come in to the organization to help them secure their AI agents, right? So I know we're going to be taught how to do that. So my question is, so when we do go into the organization, would they create us an agent for us to start to be able to deploy an agent, or it's something we need to already know how to do? We will go in to create our agents to go discover those agents.
All right. Thank you for the question, Christiana. Very good question. So I will use this analogy or this example to answer your question. I remember going into cybersecurity a few years back. Let me not say some years back, because I'm still very young, and really was a few years back. And I wanted to go into the ethical hacking track. I remember asking my tutor if it was necessary for me to learn how to code simply because I want to secure applications, I want to secure networks. And I believe his answer was a good enough answer, which is that, well, he said to me, Chimeziri, you do not necessarily need to be a developer. However, you need to know the concepts behind it, right? And so I bring back that same response to you to say that, yes, um, you may not know how to build, but you should know the concepts behind building, right? And moreover, knowing how to build the agents is an added advantage to you, right? There's no way you would know how to secure a house if you've never, you don't know how the house is built. You do not know the materials that are used to build a proper house. If you do not know what material is good and what material is not good, you would not know how to properly secure that house. And that is the truth. Have I answered your question, Christiana?
Yes, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. I see Mr. Babafemi Adebayo's hands up. Sir, you can speak.
Thank you very much for the insightful class. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear, sir.
Okay. My question, the last class we had, the one Madam Joy too. So I went back to the recordings, and while watching it, something popped up in my mind like a question. There was a particular place where she explained access control and all restrictions and all. So she now gave an example that if she comes to Nigeria, she will not dare to log in into her email, her work email, simply
Yeah.
because she knows that it will not work. And even the organization she works with knows that she will not try it because it will raise a flag like an alarm that okay, someone is attempting to log in into so person's email. So I want to ask a question in a situation whereby I know there are some organizations that owns a private VPN for their organization in order for their employees to have access to whatever they want to do, their network. In a situation whereby someone tries to log in through a VPN that works in that region. I don't know if you are getting my question now. Someone tries to log in through a VPN that works in the region where you. So I want to ask if that can cloud the judgment of the security settings.
Okay, are you
So
done,
I
sir?
don't. Yes. So I want to ask if it's possible for the VPN to cloud the judgment of security settings, and in such situation, is there a way to rectify that?
Okay. So before I respond, I want to give the room to Miss Joy to bring clarity to this question. One way I would respond to this, right? However, I can come back to give you a better feedback, right? But one way I can respond to this is that in a properly structured organization, right, they have such a thing as policies. I hope you know that just because you have a VPN, it does not mean really that it cannot be flagged, that someone from somewhere, is trying to um, um, gain access, right, to probably a network or an organization simply because of a VPN. Thank God for VPNs. However, VPNs are not, they do not necessarily bypass, security security channels put in place, right? And that is why, like I mentioned, that the whole point of this course, is to take us through the different ways in which AI agents can be secured, right? Organizations as well are aware that there are people who are out to, of course, attack them, right? In that sense, and would be aware that that those individuals would try to gain access using such a means, right? So my answer to you is, for organizations that are not properly secured, of course, can can fly, but in a properly structured organization with a security team, right, that is also working on the clock, that is not impossible, but almost impossible. Why I said not impossible is because really, no matter how much we try, right, the truth is that because we're working with humans, which is one of the greatest flaw when it comes to security, and we're also working with machines, right? We're working with agents, we're working with machines. Basically, it is also prone to fail. It's also prone to fail, right? So it's a yes and a no, but strongly a no, because once you have an organization that is properly that follows proper procedure, has proper systems in place, then that should almost not fly. Have I answered you?
Yes, thank you very much.
All right. Madam Joy, are you here? Just in
Hi,
case you want to
Chimeziri.
add to
Yes, I'm here.
that.
I'm here.
Yes. Can you kindly add to his question?
Sorry, can you give me the question again, please?
Okay, so Baba Femi, please go ahead. Give the question again.
You're on the call.
Okay, so welcome. My
Yeah.
question is, the last class we had, you said something about access control, and you give an example of you coming down to Nigeria and not attempting to log into your work email because you know to flag an alert or an alarm that someone is trying to penetrate into your account. So my question is, in a situation whereby the person, I mean the threat actor, is trying to log in into your work email with a VPN that works in the region where you work, is it
Yeah.
possible for that VPN to cloud the judgment of your security settings and probably allow the login without raising an alarm? Or actually, she answered that question though. So I want to know, if such a thing happens, is there any way someone can quickly attack or
Okay.
approach it?
Without sounding too technical, when it comes to IP addresses, again, normal users don't understand how they function on the internet. They just see themselves on the internet and assume if an IP address is a VPN address, we know. And if you're using a VPN to connect to a system, we know, versus somebody that is connecting from that location. You can know in IP addressing, IP addresses that are VPN addresses are known. If you know what I'm saying, when the global body that assigns IP addresses assign IP addresses to different places and different regions. So if somebody, for example, is in Nigeria, for example, and uses a VPN that points to my country, I'm in Ireland, and then wants to now, and maybe the person has my password and wants to try and connect, or maybe me, I even want to do it legitimately. When I connect, the system is going to flag that I'm connecting as VPN. It's not going to flag that I'm connecting directly. So the conditional access, but unless my organization did not configure those security controls. So when we are doing zero trust methodology, that's what we do. We put all these different secure defense controls because we know that people can behave like that. We know that people can want to use VPN. So we put controls that detects that if this is coming as a VPN. Do you know that even you can put controls that shows if somebody is trying to connect from a SIM card versus if somebody is trying to connect from wireless? So if you're trying to use internet that is based on your SIM card, and if you're trying to use internet that is based on wireless network, it can be known on the network layer. There are network security controls that can detect that. So to answer your question, it can only be bypassed if an organization did not put that level of control at their security layer, at their network layer. Then that way you can bypass it. But if it was configured, you cannot. I hope that answered your question.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Ms. Chimeziri did justice to my question.
All right. Good. Yep.
I thank you, Mr. Babafemi. Any more questions? So I saw that Miss Joy sent she sent a file to the group. Just want to cross check that I saw accurately. So like she rightly said the first time we met, right, which was last week, she said that the whole essence of textilers, right, is to not just train you and leave you. No, we're here to support you. We're here to support, well, majorly females. However, I see we have males here on board as well. But here, we're here to support you, support your growth in your different professions. And so we have a group, for example. I would suggest that in the course of these lessons that we utilize the groups well. Also, in the course of these lessons, you utilize your mentors well. The whole reason why we have been selected as mentors is because we have, clearly stated that we will give our time, right, to ensure that you not only leave this cohort with knowledge, with a certificate, but you leave with knowledge, right? You leave with the know-how of how to actually carry out the job. So I would implore that we utilize the group. So let me quickly just check on the group. I want to believe I saw that she pasted a file for us, textiles. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I actually do want us to go and look at the different links that are in that file and go through the material so that sorry, I'm in a different group. What is the name of we have a group, right? So who knows the name? Because I can't find it. AI agents.
It's TDD7 students, Entra ID security.
Okay, bless you. Thank you. You said TDD.
7, yeah. Students.
7.
Space students, okay. And then
yes, I see it.
You said okay.
I see it. Yes, thank you. Is that Joanne?
No, that's Christiana. Sorry.
Right. Okay, thank you for saying. So I'm just checking. Yes, I will just highlight it here for us. So just take a look at everyone. So just take a look at the material, right? Don't just come to class without having some sort of information in your head as to what you're coming here to receive or learn. Something also my mentor has taught me is that a good student is a student who asks intelligent questions. That is what I learned from my mentor. And what that means is that a good student is not just one who sits and says, oh, I'm a student of textilers. No, a good student is one who, of course, takes the lessons, right, absorbs the lessons, and from there asks intelligent questions. Since you are privy to the material that we would be using, I would advise that you not only come to class, but you go back, you check, you look at the links, you click on the links, you study, right? In fact, come asking questions to make let me speak for myself, to make me go back and study, right? To make me, you know, think that, oh, probably I am giving you, I, I'm feeding you baby food, right? I should work on my teaching outline to give you even more better, right? So that's it for now. Thank you for attending the class. Miss Joy, do you have something to say? Miss Josephine, do you have something to say before we um call it a day? Okay, someone asked and I share. I will share. Miss Josephine, Miss Joy, do you have something to say before we end the class?
Hope everyone enjoyed themselves. Now, trust me, you had foundation last week, you had this. Next week is going to be top higher. It's going to be a bit intense because you're going to have somebody now begin to show you the environment and all of that. Please, 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 I have dropped the course outline in the WhatsApp group, and during the week I'm going to be dropping questions, like doing a poll to see people who have read, and so that they can answer certain knowledge check questions. I'll be doing that during the week just to guide us. And then please fill your attendance, right? If the chat is no more working, so did not work, so we're going to get them to put the attendance sheet in the WhatsApp group. Please fill your attendance, because we're going to take the people who attended last week and this week and create profile for them on the Microsoft tenant for the hands-on. From me is thank you very much everyone for staying on the call, and thank you, Chimeziri.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sorry, question please. Thank you so much. I'm having difficulty logging into the portal, or we don't have access yet.
No, when you say which, sorry, I don't know what logins they've given you. Did you get any email telling you should log in anywhere?
I think they sent it in the WhatsApp group. There was a link sent there for the portal. I don't know if that's what we should be using or who sent it.
Okay,
It's on the WhatsApp group.
Okay, I'm actually on another call too. So once I'm done, I'll look at the WhatsApp message and then give a comment to it.
Okay,
if that
thank
works.
you.
Yep.
Because
Yep.
I remember you said that after the second class, but I don't know why it's there. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll check. Maybe they've gone ahead to create it. I'll check. I got access to the tenant today. I've not even found out from Chimeziri if they've gotten. I got access to a tenant today, and I had already played around it to see if we had enough license to do what we wanted to do. So I need to know if maybe they've started creating people, learners to get access to the tenants too. But
Okay,
please
thank
just
you.
check the WhatsApp group and fill your attendance form, please. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right, bye everyone. Have a
Yeah.
wonderful afternoon.